This is Neo, yes. My friend Morpheus is in the Pentagon. Hold on. It's a VoIP program. Morpheus, it's not in London. No, it's in Paris, yeah. I need to download the French language. I'm running out of time, Morpheus. Give me something. The national anthem? Are you crazy? All right, I'll take it. Got it. Thanks. Bye. Whew. Bonjour, je suis un Américain. Allons enfants de la patrie, le jour du gloire est arrivé. There's more. Contre nous de la tyrannie. Okay, thank you all for coming. I really appreciate the opportunity. I will try to speak American as slowly as I can, but I'm learning French right now. It's pretty cool. That was a strong hit from America. Wow, great language. So today we will aux armes citoyennes, we will former a hacker bataillon. We will marchons together. I need some water for this too, but not on my laptop. Okay. Who would like to start early and leave early? Raise your hand. You do speak American. I knew it. Well, thank you all for coming. Today we will be talking about vulnerability management. Wow. Okay. I'm a little nervous because I'm still downloading all of this French language while I'm speaking American. It's difficult. Anyway, we're going to learn about CVEs. Just to make sure you're at the right session, we're going to learn about CVEs. Over 95% of successful exploits are a result of going after a CVE. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about who I am. And then I'll ask you some questions, for now in English, but if I can connect again, I'll ask you in French. We'll see. So, any CISSPs in the room? CISSPs. Okay, good. Any hackers? How do you say hat? White hats? Black hats. Okay, good. Good group. I'm on the board of the National Information Security Group. I write cover stories for Hacking Magazine, and I've done a little bit to help out the U.S. government in securing the networks there. I know. What a great job. I know. Okay. I have a company that I founded that does network security. We're receiving a lot of awards, but I don't want to advertise my company too much. So let's talk about today's session. We're going to first focus on a little bit about cybercrime, cyberwar, and then discuss how this all happens by exploiting CVEs. So you know that the traditional criminal has a certain technique they use. The hacker, of course, can pretty much mirror or do what traditional criminals did in a different way. So cybercrime and traditional physical crime with a real burglar, there's not much of a difference except that the burglar used physical means and the cyber criminal uses bits and bytes. So, again, it is a purely digital paradigm. We're going to start off slow, but it'll get better and better, I hope. Tom, are these your slides? Where did he go? Are these Verizon slides? This doesn't look like mine. Okay. I'm just kidding. What is cyberwar? Does anyone know about Stuxnet? Raise your hand if you've heard about Stuxnet. Okay. How about STARS? The follow-up to Stuxnet. Did you hear about STARS? STARS was very similar, and it attacked the nuclear facility in Iran a second time. Are there any people from Germany in the room? Any people from Siemens? Okay, good. I can tell you all about Siemens. So, every government, as you know, I've met some wonderful folks last night who are with the French military intelligence and protecting French networks from attack. And, you know, this is a big issue worldwide, that you can actually cause a nuclear facility to go Fukushima from an attack called Stuxnet, a worm. And I will show you how Stuxnet works, exploiting vulnerabilities. Hopefully Disney's power will not go out. So trust me, you're going to love this presentation. You're going to love it. I brought you all a gift. Actually, some of you will get the best gift of all. You get a copy of the presentation if you like it. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. But you'll get that. And you're also, for some of you who can answer my difficult questions, you'll get a gift. A really, really fancy gift. It's worth about 200 euros or $1 million US. I'll show you in a minute. So most of the attacks happen behind the firewall, as you probably know. Today, or tomorrow morning, you're going to be going after capturing the flag, the crown jewels, hiding behind the firewall. Most exploits occur that way. So let's look at the cybercriminals. There's folks looking outward, facing outward, and the moat and the drawbridge is really IDS, IPS, and firewall. But the new generation of hackers are parachuting in with helicopters and night goggles out of the vision of the guards. So this is really what we face today. Stay awake if you can. I know it's late, but stay sharp, stay focused. 10 of you will get copies of a year of Hacking Magazine on a USB stick from me after I finish speaking. So stay focused, if you like the magazine. It has two big sections, attack and defense. I usually do the cover story and the defense section. I'm more of a white hat than a black hat. Okay, you all know this, so let me go back and ask a question for a prize. Can anyone here raise their hand and tell me what is a CVE? Anyone? Just one person raise, if you know. This gentleman in the front. He's so good. There's our first prize winner. Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. Usually people say in other countries, like the one at Hack in London, they said common vulnerability and exploit the first time. They were wrong, but it was an interesting definition. Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures. Come up at the end and I'll give you the magazine and some other gifts, a little bit of malware on the USB stick. So we all know that you can crack wireless. My next question for a prize, does anyone know what the largest breach in history across the world? The largest breach in history. What company was breached? Okay, wait. How many credit card records was Sony? Who said that? You're our winner. Could you say that a little louder? Wait a minute. Are you from London? It's TK Maxx in London, isn't it? You've been breached too. So TJ Maxx, that breach was hackers sitting in the parking lot using a chips or Pringles can aimed at the Wi-Fi, the Cisco wireless router of the retail store. They spoofed the MAC address of the barcode scanner that you use to scan inventory. And that breach was 100 million credit cards. 100 million. So nothing's really secure, especially Wi-Fi. I'll show you some wireless vulnerabilities today as well. Now, VoIP is very insecure. We've got eavesdropping, denial of service, and of course exploiting VoIP CVEs. Well, I'll save the next question and the next prize a few slides out, but there are so many known vulnerabilities, CVEs, in the wild that it's easy to exploit. In fact, some of you tomorrow are going to win the prize because you use tools to find these CVEs. So here's one. It kind of sounds gross. I wrote an article on it in Hacking Magazine. You can't get to the URL anymore. They want 15 euros or something crazy. But I have copies for the winners. So I'll tell you more about that really weird way to break into VoIP. Confidentiality and privacy exploitation is very big. Integrity and availability. So anyone in the room here from the CIA? Where's my friend from the CIA? Does anyone know what CIA stands for? Raise your hand. Well, you already won. Go ahead. Are we at a security show? I have another winner. I was hoping that he was going to say something else. Does anyone else, can you think of other usage of the 3 letters CIA? Very good. Very good. Confidentiality, availability, and integrity. It sounds a lot nicer than Central Intelligence Agency, but it's the same issue. If you don't have those 3 things, somebody is going to get the information. So confidentiality, breaches, and VoIP phones are pretty easy to do. Integrity, breaches, availability, and denial of service. Okay, how many winners do I have? 1, 2, 3. I have 3 of you already? I've got 7 more to go. Okay. So again, with all these ways to break in, it's pretty serious. Here are 3 CVEs, 3 vulnerabilities in VoIP. Write down this URL if you've never visited this website, cve.miter.org. I would write it down and pay it a visit. So anyone running a Avaya or Alcatel, phones that connect to Washington, VoIP phones, Cisco VoIP phones, they all are exploitable. Okay, if you just had lunch, I apologize. I'm sorry to show this slide. I really feel bad. But this is one easy way to eavesdrop on phone conversations. It's called vomit. Now, ladies, block your ears, the ladies in the room, but first you take a dump file, and then you run the dump through the vomit. When you take the dump and you run it through the vomit, you get a WAV file of people's conversations that took place earlier that day. Imagine you're at work and you're TCP dumping or wire sharking all of this traffic to your portable hard drive, and then you take it home and you run all that big data file, the dump, through the vomit tool, and you can hear what your friends were saying about you during working hours, but you can listen to it at home later that night. So that's just one of the many exploits that go after a hole or a vulnerability in Cisco's VoIP phones. So, are we secure? No. And that's why we're all here today. I argue that antivirus is dead. Are there any antivirus vendors in the room? Good. I'm going to show you live some statistics on viruses towards the end. But what's happened is there are 11 to 15 million MD5 hashes in the database of... Oh, there's an antivirus vendor here. Symantec. No? Bulldog from England? Avira? Poland? France? So, look at all the viruses that are out there. Check out this website. anti-malware-test.com. If you've got a database of 15 million signatures, but there are 35 million pieces of malware in the world, you don't have enough to stop them. So then you create something you might call HIPS. Anyone here tell us what HIPS means? No Shakira jokes. HIPS? HIPS. Who wants to raise their hand and win a prize? You in the back. That sounds great. Okay, host-based intrusion prevention system or host intrusion prevention. HIPS uses heuristics to watch processes in memory, right? And it also uses signatures, and if you combine them together, you might stop more malware, but you won't ever stop it all. Check out this website. Write this one down. Oh, there's my one. Privacyrights.org. Write that down. 516 million records breached. You can look at hospitals, government agencies, insurance companies, banks, retail, e-tail, you name it, schools. Good news to the folks here from Europe. This list is only the breaches in America. I wonder how many breaches are happening out here. I don't know. Nobody wants to put up a website. I go to the EU, I start discussing it, and they kick me out. They don't want a website listing all the breaches, but for some reason America does. Open source, open numbers. So how many banks have been breached in France today? Anyone know? Would you like to go into your central bank and move some money? Raise your hand. Anyone? Nobody wants to do it because there's military here. We're going to do that, but we're not going to move the money. I'll show you how to do that as well. Okay. Retail, e-tail, I believe, is your number one target because there's so many CVEs and because they have to run Wi-Fi. So a barcode scanner has a MAC address, an operating system, wireless. If you can spoof the MAC, spoof the IP, become the barcode scanner on your VM session running Windows CE just to fake out everyone, you are now in the corporate retail network. So if you want to order a giraffe from Harrods, the easiest way is to go fake that you're their wireless router and hack after their vulnerabilities or spoof devices. I think, although retail's the number one target, I think that hospitals are the easiest exploited because hospitals have open Wi-Fi all the time. Now, there's not enough teeth yet in regulations to stop the hackers, so I think retail gets hit the most, more than banks. But I think hospital is the easiest to break into. So if you're worried about your medical records, just go change them. Okay, cloud computing. Cloud is a cyber magnet. I'd even like to ask someone, does anyone here know what the cloud is? Raise your hand. Can anyone give me a sentence on the cloud? Is it the internet? What do they mean by elasticity or extensibility? Peer and private clouds. It's all about virtual machines running on the internet in some data center at an ISP, right? Or it's your data center. So here you are with VM. Does anyone know if there are VM vulnerabilities? Tomorrow you're going to have to exploit some VM vulnerabilities. Hint, hint, hint. Nuit de Paris, exploit VM vulnerabilities. You didn't hear that from me. So again, hospitals are easy. Why am I going backwards? Sorry. We're going to be here for a few more hours if this keeps happening. Virtual machines are the best place to exploit today because everyone is so excited about the cloud. And I will show you some VM vulnerabilities in about a few minutes. Critical infrastructure bullseye. I wrote an article on this, and there's information on SC Magazine. If you want my PowerPoint, it'll have the hyperlinks available to you. And there's no phishing attacks in my hyperlinks, trust me. So if you just Google HILF, EMP, HERF, and CEE, can anyone pick any one of those acronyms and just raise your hand? Tell us what one of those are. Okay. Come on.
High energy radio frequency, electromagnetic pulse, high intensity, low frequency.
Keep going.
But CEE doesn't matter, that's minor.
All right, fine. Wow, that guy was good. They should use him as a keynote speaker. What's your name, sir? Just kidding. You don't ask the name of Win Schwartau. Come on, everybody. Let's give him a round of applause. Win, thank you. I didn't know what those were until Win showed up. I really didn't know. Okay, So everything is a target. VoIP, BlackBerries, critical infrastructure, railroad, airlines, we're all targets because we all have a TCP/IP device somewhere on our network. We have a network. How do you keep these devices off your corporate network? What if there's a rogue wireless and you're not aware of it? Do you have employees who actually bring in these devices? So the big issue I see in all these are the vulnerabilities in these devices which will be exploited, and we will see a new wave of malware coming to us over mobile and Wi-Fi, making it into our corporations and our government. BlackBerry device has 9 CVEs, more are coming. Android is on the Linux OS. You can install IP tables on your Droid if you want to. I could show you how. It's easy, but you have to rootkit your Droid. Most users click, yes, install the app because the app sounds good. They don't know the app came from China or some other country. Anyone from China here today? You have the world's best hackers. Raise your hand. Ni hao ma. China? Anyone? Okay, good. All right. Moving along. So look at the growth of exploits. Here's another fun site, Virus Total, and we're going to go look at Virus Bulletin today. So what is malware? Viruses, Trojans, worms, rootkits, botnets, zombies, keyloggers, adware, spyware, all for cybercrime, but they all do one simple thing. They usually go after a common vulnerability and exposure. Let's go look. What are the real stats? virusbtn.com. Could somebody here name their favorite antivirus program? Don't be shy. Come on. Someone? You'll get a prize. No, what's the antivirus you run on Linux? Here, let me show you this picture blown up. Let's try to hit this website. Okay, virusbtn.com just finished 7 months of testing 69 antivirus programs. So for those of you running McAfee, you're down here in the 75% ability to detect unknown zero-day malware, McAfee. And I'm not picking on them, I'm just choosing one that I know. And McAfee is at the 73 or 4% of known malware. Not good. That's 25% or so they're missing. Let's go higher up in the chart. eScan, Avast, Avira Pro. I run Avira Free. I recommend it for your homes. Avira Free is way up here. I did try Coranti, which is brand new. Coranti is in the top corner. Coranti uses almost 99% of your CPU all the time. Good news is you'll never get infected. The bad news is your computer becomes a brick. And it took me about an hour to uninstall it because it took me a half an hour to click the mouse. So check out this virus bulletin site when you get time. So the real root cause of all exploitation are these CVEs. Now, there might be 9 million malware MD5 hashes in your McAfee database. There may be 15 million in your Kaspersky database, but there's just too many holes, and really, it's the holes that we're after. Go after the holes. If I can take W32, 110,000 variants, 110,000 MD5 hashes of one kind of virus, one piece of malware. But there's one CVE that most of those W32s exploited, one hole. So if you can get rid of that one hole, you don't have to keep scanning and scrubbing and really not having a lot of fun on your computer. It's better to harden your systems and remove your vulnerabilities than it is to scan for viruses all day. Let's take a look at nvd.nist.gov, which is a great website. This is the National Vulnerability Database. Have any of you been to this site before? Wow, this is great. Okay. And you said you're not hackers. Okay. This is kind of the hacker's homepage. what you do is you go into the NVD, and I think we're running a Cisco wireless with WPA encryption for our conference here. Cisco wireless. And I couldn't tell if the key was, hack in Paris, capital or lowercase k. I was all confused. Then I tried a French keyboard. Wow. I kept hitting the www and the period, the point. Nothing worked. You kept me out of this wireless pretty easily with the keyboard. Check this out. You go into the vulnerability search engine, and we can search for Cisco wireless. And let's do a search of the 46,813 CVEs to see if there's one vulnerability in Cisco wireless. Wait a minute, there's 76. Okay, 76. Now what you want to look for is the CVSS, which stands... does anyone know what CVSS stands for? I think I have more prizes. Anyone? CVSS. Oops, this gentleman back there. Very good. Okay, another winner. So CVSS, Common Vulnerability Scoring System. If the score is a 7 or higher, up to 10, you've got in remotely. You can get in remotely. If the scoring number is 5 or low, it might be a little more challenging. So I don't care about a 5. The lazy hackers go for the 9s and the 10s. Here's one that was discovered in, last year, not too long ago, and it's a 9. Possibly obtaining administrative privileges. That's good, but I wanted to see definitely obtaining administrative privileges. So we scroll through and we continue to look for more. So I didn't know you could SQL inject a Cisco wireless controller. That's pretty cool. And really, this is my first time visiting this page today because I didn't know what I was going to find. It's always fun to be surprised. SQL injection in Cisco. Never thought of that. Any good SQL hackers? Anyone? Yeah? Okay. After, come see me. We want to get into the Disney Wi-Fi. They happen to be running Cisco wireless version 6.0x, but anyway. Moving along. So go into the National Vulnerability Database, check it out. You can search for anything. Is there another kind of piece of hardware or another application that you'd want to look for? Would anyone want to raise their hand and just name something they use? A firewall, an operating system? Anyone? Sidewinder. Oh, they have no CVEs. Troublemaker. They also got acquired by McAfee. Go ahead, sir. FreeBSD. I've never searched for that. Let's do a search here. There are 439 vulnerabilities that relate to or connect to that keyword FreeBSD. We're going to have to do a little digging. Here's one. This one was discovered, what month are we in? Still June? So last month, the make mask function in mountd.c has a medium level vulnerability. And you can click on the link, you can study, it shows you tools, shows you how to break in. We're not really here to hack today, are we? So let's move on. No, I really know that there is the Paris military, and I think they have guns. I want to behave. Okay, so CVEs are the key. There is an exponential growth, and then we have 0-day. Good. AV test, good stuff. Okay, let's move on. So I would argue that your traditional countermeasure fails. Tomorrow, if you capture the flag, you've probably made it past an antivirus program, past a firewall, past an IDS program, and you're going to be in. December 2010, 13 of the top IPSs were tested by NSS Labs. You can get a copy of the report. They caught 62% of the attacks, and that was up from 45% the year before. Wow, congratulations, IPSs. You're doing a great job. Wait a minute, in school, I used to get a D- for that. That's not so good, is it? So, c'est la vie. UTM firewalls and IPSs are exploitable. We can search for those. I don't know about Sidewinder from someone who's probably using it in the back, but most firewalls have known vulnerabilities. So use the NVD when you can. There are Microsoft application layer vulnerabilities, and what I want to show you today is I've just installed Oval. Can anyone tell me what Oval stands for? Anyone? Did I write it on the slide? Hopefully not. Anyone? I think I have another prize. OVAL. How about OVALTINE? One's a drink. Okay, Oval stands for Open Vulnerability Assessment Language. We're going to run a free Oval engine on my laptop, and we're going to see what vulnerabilities I got. I just bought this, installed a little bit of software. It's a netbook. It doesn't have a lot of memory. I recommend to run Oval. You have more than a gig of memory. Oval uses about 500 megs. It's not incredibly well written for the purpose of performance or integrity. It's written as a free open tool, so you can write your own tools that use this language. And I'll show you the language and how it works in a minute. Before we get to Oval, let's look at the risk formula. This is an immutable law unless Win challenges it today. This law is real solid. Risk equals threats times vulnerabilities times assets. The threats you're going to face. Threats are cybercriminals, malicious insiders like the cleaning company who goes into the bank at 7 p.m. tonight. They're cleaning the bank and they have family in Brazil or somewhere who says, these cybercriminals told us if you just stick this USB stick into one of the bank's computers, we might get a lot of money down here in Brazil where money really matters. So that's a threat. That's a malicious insider. Or somebody who unplugs a VoIP phone in the conference room of your government agency and plugs in their laptop and starts hacking. You're supposed to separate your voice network from your corporate network, but who does it? Right? There's a recommendation on NIST. NIST has a recommendation that VoIP must be on its own VLAN. We're all starting to do that. But they also say it must have its own firewall. It must have its own network connections to the outside. It must be separate from the intranet. But who does it? Because we're all saving money. So somebody getting onto the VoIP network might also compromise a vulnerability in the switch itself, because switches are running operating systems. Managed switches are hackable. Some of you probably do it regularly. Vulnerabilities in switches, another example. And all the assets, people, devices. So use the risk formula to show to your boss you're keeping an eye on your network and your corporate assets. It keeps going backwards. Okay. Somebody swapped my keyboard and mouse. So everybody can be exploited because of these vulnerabilities. According to the U.S. CERT, SANS, FBI, and MITRE, over 95% of breaches are going after these CVEs, and most of these CVEs are breached behind the firewall. So what is CVE? CVE is an international standard. It's accepted worldwide. There's 46,813 entries in the CVE database for every kind of device in the world except Win's Sidewinder. But he's right, it's good. And then we can find our holes and we can fix our holes. So check out the CVE. Here's the unique names going up and up and up every year. This is the CVE database entries. So more companies have more holes than ever. Okay, and you can go look at the CVE list. Where does all this CVE information come from? So what happens off the loading dock, this is just an analogy, is they get about 800 new submissions per month from a bunch of companies that are being reported to. I think Tom in his presentation found a vulnerability in Adobe. So that vulnerability, he should have also reported it not just to Adobe but to MITRE, because then it would be listed as a CVE, which would force the vendor to try to fix the problem. Okay. Now we're going to get into the hacking and the fun stuff. Okay. Back to Oval. Oval is a free tool. It's really a language. We have an XML schema, and it standardizes sharing of vulnerability information on the host. You might run Nessus or Qualys or Foundstone in a remote way, but locally on that computer, you're going to run Oval on the computer locally. And I think one of the prior speakers, my new friend, has a plan. He's going to put Oval on a USB stick and go around the office checking hosts. So that's a cool idea. The repository is smaller than the CVE database. The CVE database is all-inclusive, 46,000 holes. Oval has about 10,000 locally exploitable host-based vulnerabilities. That's malware exploiting locally, social engineering, local exploits, what do they call spear phishing now? And then, of course, these holes are your favorite applications. We're going to see that I actually have holes on my laptop, and some of you will probably be hacking it later today. That's why it's new, and that's why I'm wiping the hard drive after the show. This is the Oval schema, and it's very simple. You get the definition and the information. This would be a sample piece of information. I've got the Windows family, but you can run Oval against Linux, FreeBSD, Solaris, Novell NetWare. Oval has schemas for everything. Here's a website to write down. Write this one down. Making security measurable.miter.org. This covers the CVE program, the Oval program, and other programs. So this says, hey, there are holes in software. There's malware that nobody wants to agree upon a name. There are vulnerabilities that nobody wants to agree upon how to fix. MITRE has taken ownership of that for the whole world, and it's a great website. Now, the next scanner that I'd recommend is called OpenVAS. Raise your hand if you've used OpenVAS. This is great. Okay. So OpenVAS is updated daily, and it's kind of a replacement for Nessus. What happened was Renaud Drezon took Nessus off the GPL, and then these folks said, hold on a minute. Why is Nessus closed? Let's keep writing vulnerability tests and give them out for free. So OpenVAS is updated daily from some of us all around the world, and it's free. This would be where you're going to do a remote scan, not a local scan. So a local scan is Oval on your local host, agent-based or host-based, and OpenVAS is a network scan remotely. Okay, now we're going to do some playing, and then we'll even end the session a little early. I know you guys have been very patient with me, and you're probably all tired. I'm losing my voice because my time zone lag, jet lag difference. But I'm going to take you through some things. I'm going to show you my favorite tools to secure computers. And you may like these tools. Okay. So let's go look at a French bank. Does someone have a name for a French bank? Oops, those are my holes. Skip that. I just went to Google and I think I typed in, French banks. So easy. Is there one that you want me to go after today? How do I spell it? How would you spell it? Is QUE? I did have a brain dump earlier. You saw that. Banque de France? Like that? No, bad. All right, okay. I'm glad you folks have a good sense of humor. No known CVEs yet. This one? Okay, let's go check them out. Raise your hand if you are in the military or the government and you plan on arresting me after the session. Oh, crap. Social engineering, I knew it. He's really with the bank. So let's go to this site, netcraft.com. Anyone here use Netcraft? Wow, I'm at the right place. So, Banque de France, grab it, copy it, put it into Netcraft, fingerprint this website. Fingerprint. Okay. So, Netcraft surveys the entire internet and fingerprints every website to see what they're running. Wow, I love it. Now, unless they're faking this out with some VM and some headers, they're running Microsoft IIS version 6, last updated on January 28th, 2011. It looks like they skipped a few months during holidays, and they don't update their web server very frequently. If you work for Banque de France in the IT staff, you're in trouble. Not a lot of updates. So then we're going to go to the National Vulnerability Database, and we're going to look for vulnerabilities in what? What would we search for? Vulnerabilities in the F5 load balancer, perhaps? Which is running FreeBSD, by the way, F5. Are we going to go after the vulnerabilities in Microsoft IIS version 6? Okay, smart people. IIS 6. Let's see what we got. I know, right when I get to the end of this and someone says, wow, that was amazing, Wynn's going to say, but they're running a Sidewinder too. So, IIS 6 has 37 known vulnerabilities. There's SQL injection flaws. There's buffer overflows. This one was discovered not too long ago. It's a level 9. It looks pretty good. I think I want to go after the buffer overflow. And I know you guys are very good at what you do, so you'll probably help me write the exploit during dinner tonight, but I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to go to Google. And I'm going to look for hack IIS 6 download. So out of those vulnerabilities that are out there, one of the first links, there are 526,000 links to hacking IIS 6. One of those will tell us how to do it. In the US, when I do this browse in Google, I usually get results slightly different. My favorite site for this is called Government Security. So this is an old one, but they'll explain how to hack IIS 6. We will download an exploit today, and we'll test it on this site, because one of you works for the bank and gave me permission. Who's the one who raised his hand? He works for the bank. What's your name? I need your full name and address. Well, I have witnesses. We have cameras. You're giving me permission to hack them, right? You too? Are you from France or from England? All right. Another British fellow giving out jokes today. So, seriously, we're not going to hack them. But all you have to do is find that one CVE to do it. Now, I don't have time to show you OpenVAS, so what I want to do is just show you Oval. I want to show you Oval. Okay. We'll do this page here. Oval.miter.org. Okay? What? Did I type that wrong? Somebody's hacked me already. Thanks, Wynn. Thanks a lot. You guys are good. You're real good. Go to Oval and download the Oval language interpreter. It doesn't interpret English or American very well, but it does interpret vulnerabilities. Once you grab the Oval interpreter, you're going to want to pick out the interpreter for your operating system. I'm running Windows 7. I grabbed ovaldi.exe, and I literally installed it. I was out there in the hallway working on it today on my new laptop. And if we go to my program files, I've got a directory full of stuff from MITRE that's free, and it's the Oval interpreter. I liked being called Monsieur Gary, and then they gave me this long last name. Did you notice for one day here I was just Gary? That was cool. But look at the name there. Can anyone pronounce that? It's very long. I use it almost as a crypto keyword. So we'll go to Program Files. We'll go to Oval. And here's the stuff. Whoops. I just downloaded it today. So you'll see these XSD files. You'll see a mess of stuff. What you'll want to do is you want to run ovaldi, and it's going to tell you all the proper commands. And you'll do -M if you don't want to do an MD5 hash. Okay? So, you say oval, and you have to download your definition file. What operating system are you running? So the full definition file is a huge file. You don't want the full file. It's 46 megs. I downloaded it. I ran Oval. I don't want to kill my computer, but you just run ovaldi -M. It goes after the definition file, my CPU. The whole thing's going to crash now. It validates the schema. It does its work. And when it's done, this is the results file. Okay? And this is for real. Look at the time I did that today. So, now you guys have every piece of information you want to hack my computer. When you see a result is true, it means, yes, I have that program. When you see a result is false, I don't. Or I have that vulnerability. So the inventory of this brand new netbook, I've got Mozilla Firefox, I've got Adobe Reader, all nice stuff. Now look at the CVEs I have. Adobe Flash Player Memory Vulnerability. Okay, thanks, Tom, wherever you are. It knows that I have Winamp installed. Look at how it has every piece of information. This is the HTML results, but you can take the XML results and use some translation or conversion tools and pull this into a centralized database or repository. So vulnerability management is about network-based vulnerabilities and local host-based vulnerabilities. My host needs a lot of fixing. I have a Microsoft HID driver vulnerability. Let's see what that is. I didn't even know what that was. I think it's that little mouse thing in the middle. It has a vulnerability in the driver. Okay, it's listed as a candidate, so that's good news. A CAN, C-A-N, versus a CVE means it's up for discussion, but it has not been approved as a easily or tested exploitable vulnerability. Here's some of the other results on my computer. For those of you who want to hack me tonight just to get back at me for keeping you here so late. I've got Wireshark installed. Or do I? No, it says false, so I don't have it. That's good. See, I'm not a hacker. I have all these vulnerabilities in Adobe. You wouldn't find all these Adobe vulnerabilities in a remote scanner like OpenVAS. Does anyone know why you wouldn't find these using a remote scanner? Anyone? Je ne comprends pas. I don't know what he's saying. This guy's crazy. What's he saying? Come on, does anyone know why? Why won't I find these Adobe vulnerabilities with, let's say, Nessus? Anyone have an idea? Perfect, another prize winner. Do you like Hacking Magazine? This means yes in American. This is no. And I'm still giving you a copy of the magazine, and you get the special USB stick. Yeah. So check out Oval, run the interpreter, and on my computer it probably takes a while. You can see it's doing its business. When it's done, it will generate a results file, results.xml and results.html, and you're going to know everything you need to know about that server that's critical, about that laptop, about that desktop, etc. So that's a good tool. Now, if you don't have time to fix all these vulnerabilities, what do you guys recommend? I'd love to hear ideas. And then hopefully some of mine are good. Turn off the laptop? Shut down my laptop? Okay.
Turn off everything and bring it to your.
Okay, so I heard something about running WinFrame, Citrix WinFrame on my laptop. Any other ideas on dealing with these vulnerabilities? So vulnerability remediation takes time. You need to schedule it. You need to get at that machine. You need to fix the holes. The holes can be fixed in 3 ways. 1, patch management. Thank you, Microsoft, because you make about 20 more holes when I patch 3 holes. But patch management. The next thing you're going to do is what? Configuration management. Here's a vulnerability. My bigger laptop, I installed Microsoft Windows XP SP3. Sounds like a good version of Windows. I actually like it better than this clunker Windows 7. Windows XP SP3 installed 5 vulnerabilities on my laptop. It has an SMB protocol flaw so that you can get at my C drive. It reinstalled the administrator account with the administrator login credential administrator. It reinstalled the guest account with the guest login credential guest. And then it reinstalled and turned on remote help desk protocol. So you could get to my computer here in France, all the way over the pond to the US, log in through remote help desk, be an administrator, and fix all these holes for me. What are you waiting for? So that's the latest patch. So the latest patch actually opens holes that require configuration changes. I have to delete the administrator account. I don't want it. Delete the guest account. Get a fix for the SMB protocol and turn off remote help desk. So config changes, some hot fixes, deletion of accounts. That's true vulnerability management. Does that make sense? So it's not just patching. If people tell you I'm going to get BigFix or PatchLink or Lumention or any of these patch management programs or Windows SUS, why do you think it's WUS? WUS. How do you translate WUS to French? Yeah. So it's a WUS. I mean, it makes more holes. You got to be careful. So configuration, reconfiguring, these are the things you're going to need to do. Okay. Let's look at some other tools. If you don't want to share all your tools, I'll show you the tools I use so you can either say this guy's crazy or he's pretty good. So I use Netcraft to fingerprint websites. I use nvdnis.gov as my CVE search engine. I use MITRE and I download Oval as my host-based vulnerability checking system for my local holes. I use OpenVAS, which is a network-facing CVE scanner, but I need to buy some time with HIPS. Okay? So looking for HIPS, I'm going to show you 3 HIPS tools that I've tested on almost every version of Windows with the exception of Windows Millennium Edition. Okay? He thinks I'm joking. My parents, when are you going to upgrade us from Windows Me? No, don't worry. It's a great thing. You'll love it. It keeps going blue. What does this blue mean? I tell them, just reboot. You'll be fine. Okay, so we've done OpenVAS. You can go to their website. We've just done a little Oval. So this is your first line of defense. These are the tools that I love to use together. Has anyone heard of or tried Prevex? P-R-E-V-X. Anyone? One person. Prevex is an incredible, low CPU consuming HIPS engine. ThreatFire is a competitor to Prevex. Prevex is not free unless you time it right. You can get a 1-year license for free. So I'm going to tell you how to get that 1-year license. Don't go to Prevex.com. Go to Prevex.com/event. It won't say Hack in Paris, but they won't know the difference, will they? They're a security company. Whatever event is there, say, yes, I think I was at that event, I don't remember. And they'll give you a 1-year license of Prevex for free. Prevex is about $30 US dollars per seat license. I don't know, what's that, €1 at these rates? And then ThreatFire is always free. It's from PC Tools. ThreatFire is a pretty good HIPS engine. What I like about Prevex and ThreatFire as well as Wind Patrol, Prevex and ThreatFire are state-of-the-art. Wind Patrol's getting older now, but it's really cool. But Prevex and ThreatFire, either one, will run with any other antivirus program. So you've already got, McAfee or Kaspersky or Avira, and you're catching 75 to 92% of the malware. When you add Prevex on top of that, you hit 99.9%, including zero-day malware. I'm not kidding, because I've tested many samples of zero-day malware. So, get yourself one of these add-ons on top of your existing system. Now, some of you are making fun of the Komodo firewall. Why is that? I need to know before I tell you it's a good thing. Anyone? It's free. It's a HIPS-based firewall. It has built-in sandboxing that blows away the Adobe exploitable system. Here I am. By the way, I was at the RSA show, the security show in California. I went up to the Adobe people and I just shook their hands. Thank you so much. They said, what are you thanking me for? I said, you put all these companies in business. Everyone here at the security show is in business because of Aquabat. And they said, no, we're here with a new version, Aquabat 10. It's only going to take up half of your hard drive and you'll be able to open up a PDF file. So I said, well, have you ever heard of Foxit? Do you guys, whoops, who crashed? Oh no, that's Oval. I forgot to tell you. You have to have more than a gig of memory. Didn't I say that? Yeah. So Oval is about to finish, and so is my presentation. Good timing. Oval is using up as much memory as it can. This is a little tiny netbook, folks. Come on. Don't expect me to be able to run like Linux on that thing. So, okay, maybe BSD. Yeah, so very happy Oval scanner. So the Oval scanner is near finishing, and it's going through its final XML file right now and rebuilding it. So you get that results file, and it's using up all the memory of Windows. Like I said, you got to have more than a gig of memory. So check out Prevex, check out ThreatFire. The Komodo firewall is free. It's free. It has sandboxing technology. That's your first line of defense. While you find some time to fix your vulnerabilities, while you document that. If you can just document that last week I found 18 holes on my Windows Server 2003. But because I've closed those holes, except for a few, because I'm still waiting for fixes from Microsoft, now I'm down to 5 holes, and you put that in writing, that is good vulnerability management. Find your holes, fix your holes, document so that you can be preemptive and proactive. So with that said, I would love to open this up if there are any other questions at all. Are there any questions, anybody, other than Win Schwartau, our keynote speaker, who's amazing?
No, this is a serious question that you may not be aware of. In Germany, there are certain laws against using these kind of tools, and the EU Commission is now discussing making these same tools potentially illegal across the EU.
Perfect timing.
How can, I think, a discussion perhaps between you and the audience of what do we do, what do they do when these tools are dual use, both security and anti-security?
That is an excellent question. You know, they kicked me out of the EU last time I tried to discuss it with them, Win. And I'm on a database now. I'm doing just what you're doing. I go through TSA, and what an experience. The white glove treatment. So I think Win's question is serious, and I'm trying to make a joke. Sorry, Win. we need to educate our governments. For example, I've gone to a central bank person who, in a federal agency in the U.S. and other countries and said, do you have a mandate or a memorandum or something about it's okay to do self-penetration tests, to use these things in a closed environment that you own the bank or you own the network? And in other countries they have come out with memorandums, but it hasn't happened out of the EU yet. There's nobody here from Germany anyway, but is anyone in France afraid that you're going to get in trouble for vulnerability scanning or pen testing your own network? Are you afraid? Raise your hand. Okay, 2 people. So the military will be escorting you out back. But Wynn, that was excellent. Any other questions? So I think we should always have these pen testing tools at our fingertips. Until we have time to remove our vulnerabilities, we need to get one more layer of defense on our wireless, on our wired, using HIPs, using the next generation of intrusion prevention, not the old IPSs that fail the NSS tests. Thank you all so much. I sincerely appreciate your time.